To the Nasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio, a place where you feed your brain. Thank you for joining me. It seems like it's been forever since I was last on the air. Feels that way. Missed everybody. But just wanted to say hello. And for those who support me, thank you for supporting me, to include Up and Going Cleaners. Always the love, always the support, and very much appreciated. That's where Anthony McMath is out there doing this thing. And for more information, just go to intellectualradio.com. Feel free to give us a call at 708-223-8953. The number has not changed, or call 224-800-9719. So we have a very personal show today. And before we go into the personal things about this show, I'd just like to say again, thank you for supporting the Nasha Harrison Show. Thank you for supporting the Intellectual Radio family. We all are here trying to feed your brain with wonderful information, whether it be personal, political, what have you. We always want to have a platform for social positive change out there for you to partake in and for you to make your decisions about. And I really do appreciate not only you supporting me, but supporting the Intellectual Radio family. So again, we all are one big family. If you go to intellectualradio.com, go to that donate button. It should be way on the bottom. So you can subscribe, absolutely. But if you want to, please feel free to donate to anybody here on the Intellectual Radio family, whether it's myself or whether it's somebody else that's supporting this platform. And we do need the support from you to not only listen, but do what you can. And if you can't give monetarily, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about these shows that are going on here at intellectualradio.com. So again, thank you for the support. I thank all of you for all of the uh, well wishes. As you all know, if you know me, you know that we lost a monarch in our family. We lost one of the most realest people that we have ever known. She was in um, her her uh, her older years, but whether whether she was in her 80s or she was not, we're gonna miss her all the same. Huge impact on everybody in the McMath family, Harrison family, Hampton family, Bailey family, Alexander family, uh, the Howe family, right? The Stevenson family, Jackson family, uh, Rosie Marie Howe. We love you. We miss you. We're going to continue to remember you. We're going to continue to be a part of you as you're going to continue to be a part of us, because in our family, we do believe that there is no such thing as death, only transition. And we've talked about it on the show. And it's easier said than done when it's somebody else's loved one. It's really easy to talk about transitioning and being sorry for your loss, and wondering if you can be there to do something for those who are going through. But when it's you, when it's those who are close to you, when it's those that you love the most, the folk that you didn't grew up with, and the folk that you didn't broke bread with, it hits in a different way. Not that you don't care about others. That's not what I'm saying. But when it's yours, when it's your blood, when it's your family, when they've been very instrumental in your life, it hits a little different. It hits a little closer. And so we just want to continue to celebrate the life of Auntie Rosie, as I called her. She was an aunt to me, a friend to so many more. For those who are much younger than me, you know her as your grandmother, great grandmother. You know her in a different light, because when I was growing up, she was younger. She was a little bit faster. She cussed a little bit more. She yelled a little bit louder. And she was a very, very real person. I got so many stories that I could share about Auntie, um, but I want to not get so emotional on the show. But I will share one story, and this is a story. Nah, you know what? Let me bag up. I'll share an experience. One thing that I can never forget about my auntie was that she never lost her timing. Um, from the time that I can remember until the last time I saw her, she was so quick in the mind. Now, whether she remembered or forgot or whatever that was, uh, you would never know that she was going through anything when it came to her not being as well as she was in her previous years. She sounded sharp. She sounded the same. Her voice was full of love. It was full of support. It was full of stern instruction. Didn't matter how old you were. She was always going to tell you what was on her mind, and she was always going to have some type of advice to give you before you parted. So again, I love my aunt, and I'm going to miss my aunt tremendously. And again, as I said before, we speak about transitioning. There is a huge difference between um, our opinions and feelings about what what death is all about. I believe, I believe, doesn't make it right or wrong, right? It's my opinion. I believe that the only reason that we call death death is because we don't have a definition contrary to life, right? I believe that life takes many forms. I believe that we have our time to be great, to do wonderful things, to express ourselves in the most free and peaceful and loving way that God has given us the right to do. And I also believe that this is only a part of that thing that we call life. I do believe that there is more to life than the conscious that I speak in and that you hear me in. I believe that there's more to it. And so when we talk about transition, I do believe that after our time is up here in this space, that we continue life in another space. And so as sad as I and others are, or some may be angry. I don't understand why they would be. Um, but as hurt as some of us are, I would encourage you to think about the meaning of life to you and figure out if you feel that life goes on beyond this space. And if you do, then take comfort in knowing that those who you loved, those who you had the opportunity to do well by, those who you had the opportunity to communicate with, uh, be well and understand that they are still continuing that thing that we call life. We may not have a definition for it. Again, that's why we call what we don't understand death. We may not have an answer for it. We may not be motivated to understand it. But if you're hurting, if you're in pain, then I encourage you to take comfort in understanding and knowing that um, in your mind, if you can, if you can, try to know that life doesn't just exist in this space. Believe that the transition process is just that you or those who have gone before us are actually existing in another way um, in this journey that we call life. I don't believe that the journey ever stops. And it's not just about my auntie. Somebody else lost an auntie. Somebody lost a mother, a sister. Um, Concerning my auntie, right? She was a mother, she was a sister, a cousin, right? Grandmother, great grandmother, right? So not only for my loved one, but for yours as well. You may have lost a sibling, a loved one, someone important to you and your family, and it might be a struggle for you. So I'm here to encourage you, and through my pain, I'm here to encourage you to continue to remember that person in the best way possible, because wherever that individual is, whatever it is that they're experiencing, they have departed. They're not coming back. They have transitioned. And what we have are the memories of those individuals or that individual. What we do with that memory, I believe, is very important to us as we exist in this space. You can make a choice to honor that person's memory. You can make a choice to be angry, sad, and upset and never go beyond that, never get through that. It's okay to mourn, I believe. I believe that it's okay to reflect. And I believe that we go in and out of our stages and our spaces when we do remember the people that we love and care about. But I believe that it's important for us to honor their legacy by doing the best that we can do as long as we are 10 toes down, as long as we're still in this space. We should not only honor their memory, but apply what they've or honor their memory by applying the things that they have taught us in a good way. And maybe your relationship with people who you care about wasn't the best. Maybe you probably were at odds from time to time. And I believe that that's okay too. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason that I believe that that's okay as well is because there are always lessons to be learned in anything that you experience. There are always lessons that you can go through and thrive because of those lessons. Um, some things cause us some serious hardship. Some things cause us some serious pain. When I was in the military in the Marine Corps, they would tell us that pain is just weakness leaving the body. Just something that some people may deem silly to motivate you. Other people may think that that's something that you really should think about. When you're going through different pain and when it gets you down, you have to dig down deeper than that pain so that you can thrive up out of it, so that you can grow up out of it. And I believe that if you did not have the best relationship with those who have since transitioned, that you can still benefit from those experiences, whether good or bad. Try to apply those to your life. You may not like the job that you're in. You may not like the situation that you're in. You may be going through a rough time, but you're still here. And there's so many things around you today that may not have been around you 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Beyond that, there's so many things around you that you can take cues from to motivate yourself to go beyond where you already are. We have social media that we've never had before. And social media has been used for so many things, whether good or bad, maybe somewhere in the middle. Take that platform and use that as an example. Take this platform and use this as an example to motivate yourself. Self branding, some way, somehow you can benefit from those things around you. Not only is there social media as far as the technology is concerned, but we are in an information age to make decisions that might make our lives a little bit easier, make our lives a little bit better. Maybe there's a vacation that you want to take. Maybe there's a course that you want to take. Maybe there's a park that you want to go to, a beach that you want to go to. All of this information is at your fingertips. Why? You can use it for good or bad or something in the middle, but I encourage you to use all of those devices that are around you to better your life. And again, those experiences with those who have since transitioned, try to turn that not so good relationship into an opportunity for you to continue to move forward and thrive. So I just wanted to share that with all of you who are listening. And again, if you're listening to the show, tell somebody about the show. Doesn't have to be Denasha Harrison. It can be somebody on the intellectual radio platform. Again, we are all one family, one beat, one sound, right? We all believe that you should feed your brain. You might not agree with everything that you hear, right? But that sparks conversation as well. There's nothing wrong with healthy debate. There's nothing wrong from hearing from somebody else's point of view or perspective. So do yourself a favor, do you some homework. If you got a loved one that you just lost or that you lost 10, 15, 20 years ago, and that it still hits you kind of hard, just think on all the good things that you've experienced with that person. Because for me, when I've lost loved ones, it's really hard to remember the bad over the good. Now, I'm not saying that some of you have experienced traumatic situations with people that you've loved that have transitioned. But for me, it's really difficult to remember the negative. I lost my father at an early age. He was only 57 years old. And right when I was coming into my own, I felt like I was finally understanding some of the things that grown men go through. I was finally understanding why he did some of the things that he did and why he was the way he was. And to me, right here, why he still is the way he is. And I felt like I was just coming into that part of manhood where we could go out and shoot some pool together, or I can understand what he's doing when he's cheating at chess, or we can actually have a drink together, which was something that I never thought that I would do. And he passed at a very young age. Why do I share this? Because this is an example to me. He's been gone since um, 2007, but it still feels like it's yesterday. And because I understand in my mind, and because I take it as it being a transition situation, I feel like my father is lock in step with me from time to time. And now that my auntie is transitioned, I feel like she will be lock in step with me from time to time. Um, I could talk about all the cuss words. It she's very instrumental in how I've been able to develop very colorful language. Uh, but it was just a joy sitting at her feet. It was a joy learning life. It was a joy watching someone who mastered life, who was a teacher in life. She was my mother's road dog, as people would say. And she's my mother's oldest sister. And my mother, thank God, is still with us on this side. And I thank my mother for sharing so much with me about my auntie that I didn't know about before. They grew up on the west side of Chicago. Before the west side, they was in Terrytown, Gary, Indiana. Before that, they came by way of Alabama. So they have some very, very interesting stories. Um, and yeah, it's my show, so I can probably talk about it. I don't know if I'll be able to talk to my mother afterwards if I share some of the stories, but I will say that Rosie Marie Howe had a nickname on the streets. They used to call her Pearl Handle Rose. There's a reason for that. The reason that they called the Pearl Handle Rose is, now you got to understand. Let me set this up a little bit for you. This was in the 60s and 70s. So wasn't a lot of gun toting around. Okay, but people carried a lot of switchblades, right? So if you look on my Facebook page, Denasha Harrison, you'll see a picture up of my auntie, and then you'll see some of my cousin posting pictures of her in her younger years. She was just the most sweetest, innocent looking person that you would run across in pictures. But she was known to pull a blade in a minute because, again, remember, this is the west side of Chicago, right? This is a place that wasn't an easy place to live. And the women in my family, just like the men, weren't punks. They weren't pushovers. They were beautiful and still are beautiful women, but they will give you a piece of their mind. We come from a very politically charged family. We come from a family where everybody's taught to stand on their own. Everybody's taught that it's okay to speak your mind. And although people may not agree with you, no one will stop you from getting out what you need to say and how you need to express yourself. So Pearl Handle Rose, that nickname came from how she carried a pearl handle blade and she was never afraid to use it. So I'm not going to include my mother in some of the things that my mother and my aunt did because I have not gotten permission to share some of those stories. So I will digress with talking about some of those things that the both of those road dogs did together. But it's just a joy. It was a joy to see her before she passed. It was a joy to go downstate and spend some time with her and take my mom down to spend some time with her to, for them to love up on each other because, you never know when somebody's going to transition. So just wanted to share that. Thank you for listening. Um, and thank you for being a part of the healing process for some of you. Again, thank you for your condolences and thank you for your strength. Thank you for your love. So, This is the Denasha Harrison Show on IntellectualRadio.com. I will take a really, really quick pause, and then I'll be back with you shortly here on the Denasha Harrison Show. God's on the trouble water. You ain't got enough money to buy my soul. Ain't strong enough to stop me. I'm out of control. This dimension's a meal. I know that I know. I am that I am. That's why I speak so bold. On the verge of losing hope. I know where to go. Switch my style from singing vocals to magical flows. Study the streets a little closer. One with the ghetto. Got wise as I got older. Unloaded the metal. New millennium rebel. After that federal dollar. Balance the world on my shoulders. I know my soldiers are following me at war. These kids still dying in the streets at war. On the block running from the police at war. In the US, this ain't the Middle East at war. With the problems in my own community in the war. It's the only way to fight an enemy. Lord, save my father from this bottom to Hennessy. With more can I give? I'm giving all of me. And for real, it's only getting hotter for me. Harder to see and harder to breathe. And there's only one remedy. I gotta be smarter than my enemies. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Now wade in the water. God's in trouble. I'm being chased by demons that triple team, exposed to false religions. I'm hated by jealous niggas that don't want to see me living my life scarred from living hope. Pulling up papers and chasing paper, no hoes barred. Peace of mind, and yet divine, my heart's cold. Got the friends, my last road dog turned me in. The cost of war would never change. Who takes the blame for bad decisions? So many missing from following orders, cause ill giving got the world tripping. They push prison at us young niggas. That's why we haven't had triggers, won't let the war get us. I'm not alone, but the way that I feel is like millions out the clutching they steal. Roaming the field. I am what I am, and best believe following me. A guinea pig. Welcome back to the Denasha Harrison Show here on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, thank you for joining me. For me, is a very special show. Not that the other shows weren't, but for me, this one's a very special, personal time for the families that I mentioned before. And if you're just joining me, I'm paying tribute to my auntie that transitioned. It was actually last Friday that she transitioned. So rest in heaven, rest in peace, Auntie Rosie. I like to read something that I copied and for my to post for my auntie. So it says, I'm going to miss you, Auntie. You were the coldest at all you did, the definition of a teacher of life. I'm so blessed to have sat at your feet for many moons. Your legacy will continue to live on through the family. And I also copied a prayer that's a prayer common to folks that's members of the Order of the Eastern Star and that are Master Masons like myself. And this prayer says, Holy and merciful God, who answereth prayer and doth not scorn the petition of the humblest of thy children, bestow upon us in our parting that spirit of affection which can resist the selfishness of the world and cause us to remember our obligations to each other and to thee. We have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So mote it be, so mote it be, so mote it be. To my Auntie Rosie, rest in heaven, rest in power, rest in peace. And we understand that there's no such thing as death. It's only transition. When you were here, when you were alive, you looked to the east, and now you sit in what we call the north. So you're in the guest house, guest seat. You don't have to work that mosaic. You don't have to work that lodge. Okay, you can sit as a guest in the north and watch how we do what we do, and all the wisdom that you've departed on us, that you've taught us. I thank you so much for doing what you did. Not only were you my auntie, but you were also my sister in the Order of the Eastern Star. So I love you always. You still with me, and although you're not physically here, I know what it is. I know what time it is, and I understand. So I appreciate you. Speaking of the Order of the Eastern Star, if you're interested in knowing what that's all about, if you're interested in knowing about what we call Freemasonry, please ask one to understand. If you don't feel like you um, are are destined to be one, but you have questions, still go to someone who's a part of the brotherhood, the oldest fraternity in the world, right? So nothing against any other fraternity or sorority, but when it comes to Freemasonry, if you have any questions, then ask one. You can feel free to ask me because I am one, and you can feel free to um, try to do some research. But if you got some questions, feel free to ask. Concerning the Order of the Eastern Star that came around in the 1850s, that order, um, very interesting. And I would encourage you to do some research. But if you have some questions, whether it's myself or someone that you know, whether what we call 3 letter or 4 letter, and what that means is 3 letters Prince Hall, 4 letters Scottish Rite, ancient, free, and accepted, or free and accepted. You hear a lot of things thrown around, a lot of letters, a lot of numbers, and all this and that. Nobody expects you to know what that is. And for somebody that's worth their salt and worth the title, they will take the time to explain to you what that process is all about. And they'll answer whatever questions that you may have. And so I encourage you to do your research. Um, it's a beautiful organization that you have every right to be a part of. So that's a little bit about that. And I'd also like to talk to you about, again, being happy to be back on intellectualradio.com. It was only a couple of Wednesdays. It wasn't too long, but I just felt like it was long. It's no, it's like when you go on vacation. It could be the most beautiful vacation that you have planned, whether it's the Bahamas or the British Virgin Islands or somewhere in Europe or wherever, Tulum, Mexico, or whatever it is. As beautiful as those places are, as much fun as you have in those spots, as much drinking as you may do, ATV riding, parasailing, scuba diving, snorkeling, whatever it is that you do, absolutely nothing on the beach. It's nothing like coming back home, right? I felt like I was gone longer than I should have been gone. So it just feels good to be back home. So thank you for joining me again on the Intellectual Radio Show and what we have coming up. Well, before I get into that, I want to thank my last guest that was on the show, Miss Erica. She talked very passionately about how your health is your wealth, how in our communities, a lot of our African American women, black and browns, a lot of our women don't get the proper health care that they deserve. They don't get the attention that they deserve when it comes to health care. We discussed some very personal things pertaining to her and her family, how she lost her daughter after her daughter gave birth. And that brought her into the awareness arena when it comes to women's health care. Currently, she's working on a lot of wonderful things to get the word out, to make sure that her voice is heard and that other people's voices are heard about how women's health should be at the forefront of our politics. It should be at the forefront of our social um, gatherings. It should be at the forefront. And she's working very, very hard to make sure that that happens. I'm going to partner with her to make sure that I can do all that I can to make sure that she continues to have a voice on sounding the alarm about how we need to do more for women's health care and how your health is your wealth. And whether it's women or men, you have to take care of your health. But primarily, she talked about not only her loss, but her motivation to do the things that she is doing today. Later on this month, there hopefully will be some developments for um, some nonprofit opportunities for her to continue to get the word out. And here on Intellectual Radio on the Denasha Harrison Show, we'll keep you posted on how that's going. So, Erica, if you're listening, thank you so much for sharing your personal story. And thank you so much for working so hard for women's health. And we do believe that your health is your wealth. So thank you very much. So when it comes to the show for next Wednesday, just wanted to share a little bit with you. Got some very interesting guests that I'm looking forward to have come in the studio. Always nice to get on the phone. Always nice to talk to someone on the phone, but there's nothing like being in the studio with someone actually um, in each other's space, sharing each other's energy, talking about their experiences. So we have some very interesting shows coming up for you next Wednesday. I don't want to give you a precursor to what I have planned, because if I say somebody's coming, or if I say we're doing something and that changes, then you think that you've missed a show in between or something like that. So I will just tell you that I'm looking very forward to the next show coming up on Wednesday here on Intellectual Radio. So I have a very prolific guest, very interesting guest that I'm hoping we can get on the show and share with you their experiences. So we will continue to cover some of the things from the last shows. If on intellectualradio.com you do not see the most current show, just keep looking around, and you can also look on YouTube as well. The Denasha Harrison Show goes up. Um, it's up right after. And right now, if you're on intellectualradio.com, you can see that the show is actually happening live. If you ever have any questions on how to get to a specific show, whether it's my show or another show on the platform, simply call 708-223-8953. The crew here, the family here is more than helpful to walk you through the process so that you can benefit from this platform. We're not the only ones here that benefit from the platform. We want to make sure that you benefit from the platform too. Just like you take time out of your day to support us as we speak to you, we take the time out of our day to do the same. And the reason that we do is because we care. Um, I know I can speak for a lot of people here at the show. They care. Um, that some people travel very, very far to get the word out. Some people um, go through a lot to make sure that they can stay on the air, to get the word out, to make sure that they're feeding their brain by trying to feed your brain. So again, take focus and take time to understand why someone's in front of you, why someone's talking with you, why someone's asking you to tune in to this platform or something else that you may be a part of. Take purpose and take comfort in knowing that do things with a purpose. Doing things with a purpose is not only beneficial to you, but the people that are around you. I come into this studio for a purpose. I want to make sure that you all understand, and that I understand, that communicating positive vibes on a positive platform is doing more than just speaking words and you hearing words. I'm hoping that I'm being very effective to change some of the things, or give you pause to think about some things that might make things a little bit better for you. And if anybody's coming on the show, or if anybody's talking to you to your left or to your right, like they have all the answers, then take a pause, because that person's full of something. Uh, so, but just take 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 peace in knowing that um, the people in front of you who you feel mean you well just might mean you well, and the people who are in front of you who are always trying to take from you but never want to give anything in return, hey, don't make the same mistake twice. And don't change yourself because somebody may have taken advantage of you. I think the majority of us have been there before, where we've put our necks out, where we've done things for people, not knowing if they were going to, do things in return, uh, in kind, to us. But you should not live for what I call the quid pro quo. You should not do things because you expect somebody to do the same to you, if not more. If you're motivated to do the right thing, then follow that motivation. However, if you see that the gifts that you've given people, the pearls that you've given, actually were given to the swine, and then they turned and rended you, they stuck you, they mistreated you, they abused you, take that as a lesson and just don't put yourself in that position again. But that don't mean that you have to change who you are. That doesn't mean that you have to be down on life because of what somebody else did to you. Don't look at it as a failure, um, and let them look at that as a victory. But all things are fleeting, right? You're going to leave with exactly what you came in this life with when it comes to all the physical things around you, right? We accumulate a lot of stuff in this life. Some people accumulate more stuff than others. But at the end of the day, you cannot take it with you. Even if you're buried with it, it still stays here. So you can't take that with you when it's time for you to transition. Why am I saying that? Because I think it's important to understand and appreciate and recognize the blessings that you accumulate here. But the blessings that you accumulate here should not just amount to a lot of stuff, right? You should be able to apply all of those blessings that you get, whether it's stuff, what we call heirlooms and things of that nature. You should be able to reap the benefit of that stuff, and you should be able to pass the benefits on because of the stuff to others. But the actual physical stuff that you can't take with you, we should not argue over who's getting the car and who's getting the house and who's getting the whatever. We shouldn't argue over that. Uh, I think it's important for us to lead with understanding and lead with the expectation that we will be farther and higher in life because of the conversations that we have, because of the time that we spend, be- because of the with each other, because of the things that we notice about one another when someone's being sincere, when someone's being used to share with you and teach you. Those are the things that may transition with us. I don't know because I never transitioned, but I can probably bet my last $2 that what I was told will hold beyond this space. I know that that motorcycle, those motorcycles, the house, that's not going with me when I transition. So again, we gather a lot of stuff. We spend a lot of time gathering stuff. We spend a lot of time fighting over the things that we gather. And while we're doing that, we're losing time on things that we can apply to our legacy beyond us, to others. So keep that in mind. We can't take any of the things with us that we accumulate. The way we came in is the way we going out. And that doesn't mean that you're going to leave with nothing because you didn't come in this life with nothing. You came in this life with a lot of fight. And I've said it before. The very first race that you ran is the race that you won. And that was the race to life. You actually have fulfilled the purpose of life by coming into this life. Now, how you thrive in this life and how you do this life is up to you. And it has a lot to do with the conditions that are around you to kind of form that journey for you. But in the end, no matter what the world puts us through, no matter what we go through, it's up to you how you're going to thrive in this life. But the purpose of life has already been figured out. You're here. And so you came into this life with something, with the tenacity to live, to learn, to know, your curiosity, all of those things that you came into this life with, they came with you when you got here. So you didn't come in this life with nothing when it comes to your mental and your spiritual. When you leave this life, you won't be able to take the physical things with you that you accumulated, all the stuff, but they should mean something to you. They should have been able to add something to this life when you do transition. So, just like you came in with that knowledge, that curiosity, that tenacity, that should never stop as long as you're 10 toes down. You should always try to better yourself. You should always try to better your situation. You should always try to find out what more can you do to be a part of a community, a tribe, a village, whatever you want to call it, to share with them and learn from those same people that you share with. That's who you should work at surrounding yourself with, because that physical stuff that you accumulate, you can't take it with you. But hopefully, you'll learn something from all the things that you've experienced. You'll learn something from all the things that you've gathered through the years, and you'll be able to share those things with people um, who mean you well so that they can continue to pass that on and enhance and better their lives. So, here on the Denasha Harrison Show, it's all about light and love. It's all about interesting guests. It's all about telling the truth. It's all about making sure that this platform is a platform that's going to be a good one for social change, positive change. Every now and then we might talk politics. Every now and then we might talk family. But whatever we talk, want to make sure that it's straight talk. Want to make sure that it's talk that's above board and that we are actually feeding your brain. So we're not going to get into the politics concerning Dalton, not right now. We're not going to talk about Tiffany. We're not going to talk about Mr. Freeman, Keith. We're not going to talk about none of that. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason that we're not going to talk about that now is because there's a lot of things that mainstream media is alleging. There's a lot of things that mainstream media has recognized to be um, questionable. And if some of the things are true, or if all of the things are true, let the chips fall where they may. What I refuse to do is continue to feed into what is out there, whether positive or negative. I'm not going to get on the left side and talk about how, mainstream media is a bunch of, BS and this and that. And I'm not going to get on the other side of things, talking about how, you know, nothing was absolutely done wrong. I don't know. And until I do know, I'm going to stay out of those politics until the truth actually uh, is more than um, alleged gossip and conversation. So yeah, I see the same thing you see. I'm hearing the same things that you're hearing, but I'm not asking you to press the like button when it comes to my opinion about what's going on in a town where you have a lot of politics going down. You have a lot of um, ill will and discontent going on. And whatever it is, you got the people who need the governs, who need the people that were elected to govern. And so you have the people in the middle of a lot of media, a lot of possible wrongdoing, no wrongdoing. You got the people in the middle. And at the end of the day, you should support those who support the people. And for whoever supports the people, that's who I support. So hopefully all of that will blow over to where we can see. And once we do see, and we can go ahead and support um, that which supports the people, because that's what true politics should be about, taking care of the business of the people. And if there's anybody out there that's obstructing that, then they need to be removed. They need to be out of the way. So hopefully all of that will um, come to a close so that the people can benefit from the wonderful resources that are available to them in that area, Thornton Township area, the Dalton Village, the surrounding areas. So, good luck to all of those who are standing on the side of right when it comes to taking care of business for the people. So, here on the Denasha Harrison Show, we want to talk about it, straight talk. You're always free to call in. I know a lot of people are looking forward to a wonderful, safe summer. I know I am. We see a lot of things that are going on out there with our youth, with people just what we used to call kirking out back in the day, losing their minds, shooting coworkers because they upset about whatever it is they're upset about. I I my heart goes out to people who lose loved ones behind weak-minded people who refuse to walk away, behind people who refuse to get the help that's available to them. And in most cases, you know, some these type of things are avoidable in most cases, and because of that, it's just truly a tragedy that people can enjoy, this beautiful city with their loved ones, but instead they have to make plans to bury their loved ones. So we want to again focus on this beautiful city, the beautiful surrounding Chicagoland areas, and all that it has to offer. Uh, and we want to highlight that. We want to continue to highlight that. It's a beautiful city. The weather's beautiful. And I encourage you, in spite of all the things that you hear or that you may see in the negative, don't let that stop you from enjoying your city. Don't let that stop you from going downtown and checking out Buckingham Fountain. I'm riding over to it right after the show, taking a couple of pictures and doing what I do. Don't let it stop you from enjoying this space. So I'm glad that you joined me. I'm glad that we had a chance to talk. I'm glad that you had a chance to listen. And again, If you want to be a guest on the Denasha Harrison Show, call IntellectualRadio.com or call Denasha Harrison. Post something, say, hey, I want to be a part of your show. This is what I have to talk about. Um, Press that like button if you hit me on Facebook, and just support. You can support way after I'm off this air. You can always go to Facebook, you know, put your comments in the comment section, press that like button, and then we're moving forward. I would also like to share this, and after I share this, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. I've been very fortunate to know of a gentleman by the name of Vogel Hill from Clear Productions Network. He was a guest on the show a few shows back. He was a guest on the show. He called in. We talked about our experiences. We talked about our relationship. So I've known this brother for over 20 years, and he's never stopped grinding. And I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to come on Clear Productions Network. Once I go into production with Clear Productions Network, I'm going to share that with you all because it's a positive platform. I'm still going to be here with the Intellectual Radio family, and we're going to go ahead and share this thing. It's going to be some wonderful things coming up, some beautiful cinematography, videography. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing cracking because it's been a long time coming, over 20 years. But, you know, it was definitely worth the wait. And as I continue to grow in my journey on radio, as I continue to grow on my journey when it comes to media of any type, I want to ask that you continue to support me while I support what's important. And if you have any questions or concerns, or you feel like something could be done different when it comes to this platform or any other platform that you may see me on, feel free to reach out. Let's have a conversation. I love constructive criticism. I absolutely do. A lot of people may say that, but I really mean it. I do, because that only makes me better. That only gives me the opportunity to give you more of what you're looking for, more of what's needed. We have so much going on when it comes to social media that's not saying anything or not doing anything positive. And we don't want to fall within that lane. We want to make sure that we stay above board and that we're doing what matters. So anything that you need to offer, anything that you want to say, anything that you have ideas about, please put them in the comment section, press that like button, because I want you to help me serve you better when it comes to these platforms. IntellectualRadio.com will always be a home for me. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate anything that everybody's done for me in a positive way. And any experience that I've had that wasn't a positive one, I learned from it as well, just like you should when it comes to the things that I've asked you to, to reflect on and think about while we've been on this show. So next week, Wednesday, looking forward to a wonderful guest coming on. Please join us on the Denasha Harrison Show next Wednesday, 8 o'clock. This is IntellectualRadio.com, where you feed your brain here on the Denasha Harrison Show. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you next week. Until then, be safe. You ain't got enough money.